Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Because if they're not diagnosed with epilepsy, it could be their blood sugar's low. It
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
be that they're dealing with some other issue.
So many things. Yeah.
There's so many reasons out there that someone could have a seizure that are not epilepsy related.
Yeah.
Now, if you're with someone and they have epilepsy and they
Yeah.
have
Got to ask that. So if you are with somebody, there's some good tips on what to do in that moment.
It depends on the kind of seizure.
Mm-hmm.
So the one, like I said, what people typically think of is the people rolling on the ground, shaking on the ground.
Yeah.
In that case, you want to turn them on their side, get something under their head, because you turn them on their side because one of the old myths is that they're going to swallow their tongue. You can't swallow your tongue.
Okay.
But you don't want your tongue to block your airway either. Yeah. And you also don't want, sometimes people might vomit. Mm-hmm. You don't want them to aspirate either.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that way, if they do happen to vomit during the seizure, it'll, gravity will take its course.
Yeah.
I know it might be a bit harsh for some people, sorry, but it's life. But turn them on their side, put something under their head. I even say, even if all you have is your purse, your knees, or something, put that under their head, because it's better that they hit that than they hit the concrete. And you just have to stay with them, time it. The rule of thumb is if it goes more than 5 minutes, or if the seizures keep repeating themselves, then call 911. If you know someone with epilepsy, ask them, what do you want me to do? That's the best thing to do, because they know.
Once the episode is over.
No, even if you know they have epilepsy, say, hey.
I see. Be prepared. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah, be prepared. Ask, give them a chance to let you know what they want you to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally the rule of thumb is you wouldn't call 911 unless you don't know it's a seizure. I mean, if you don't know if they have epilepsy, if they've injured themselves, if they're pregnant, or if, like I said, if the seizures are recurring or have gone more than 5 minutes. And the reason I tell people, okay, if I have a seizure, I don't want you to call 911 unless I injure myself. Because by the time they get there, then guess what?
It's all over.
Pretty much, it's gone. Yeah. I'm in what's called the post-ictal state, and we've just wasted their time. I'm not going to be able to communicate with them. I've had a lot of friends who get taken to the hospital because they can't communicate and get hit with these charges. And there's probably, in my case, I think of someone else who probably needs their help more than I did.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But the thing is, talk to your friend, talk to your colleague, say, what do you want me to do? Like with my work, I always just say, when I start a new job, I go to my boss after I start. I don't tell them during the interview, of course, but after I've started the job.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, just wanted to let you know I have epilepsy. What do you want me to do? And I've had times where they've had me do a presentation to the staff about epilepsy. Sometimes, one time they had me just write things down in an envelope, and we kept it at the front desk. So if anything happened, they could just give it to the EMTs right away.
Yeah.
Other times, they just wanted me to send out an email, and then people could come to me as they wanted. So every place handles it a little differently.
Yeah, very good.
But I sort of leave it up to them, but I'm being a little more proactive and all that on it too.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are afraid to talk about it, but it's like, if we don't talk about it, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then my kind of seizures, I could be wandering around, stumbling. It looks like I'm drunk, and I just tell people, just stay with me. Just keep talking to me, because I can't hear them or see them, but just keep talking calmly to me, and don't stop me unless I'm about to, say, if I'm about to walk in the street in front of a bus, or maybe walk down a flight of stairs, please stop me then, Although I have walked down a flight of stairs during a seizure. Yeah. Wow. I was in my apartment and woke up outside came alert outside the apartment complex.
And no memory, but you had to go down the stairs. Yeah. Well, like you say, there's, it's so different from person to person. So it sounds like it's very important to let somebody know, what it's going to look like and what to do for me if I have a seizure.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. What is the aftermath like? Can you share that with us? I've heard it's very exhausting.
Yeah, again, different for everyone.
Yeah.
I mentioned post-ictal. That's the term they use for afterwards. For me, the best thing for me is simply just to take a nap. Because in a sense, when you've had a seizure, your brain has been on overload. It's like this electrical storm has been going on in your brain.
Yeah.
And so fatigue is a huge thing. I know there's people who are fatigued for days, but I'm not saying I'm not fatigued longer than those 20 minutes, but that 20-minute nap really did a world of good.
It helps. Good.
Initially after the seizure, and so that was one accommodation people work would make for me, is they'd let me go take that nap.
Yeah.
But I'd say I remember when I was working, again, this was back at the University Library in Colorado, and I'd had a seizure and I couldn't talk to someone. I wouldn't be able to carry on this conversation with you like we did because my brain can't focus on anything.
Yeah.
But I could sit down and just check books in. Something simple like that. I could do that,
Yeah.
But I would be saying a sentence and I couldn't remember what I just said and what I was about to say, and I've even had seizures where I've been sitting at my desk and no one in the room knew I had a seizure because they're that subtle for me.
Yeah.
Not for everyone else, but for me, that they can be that subtle.
Yeah. Well,
my dad calls it my third base coach routine because it looks like I make hand gestures like a third base coach. Yeah. But again,
loved ones. So for somebody that maybe has a loved one that's just gotten the diagnosis, what kind of words of encouragement do you have for them? I mean, I'm sure they're frightened, and you hear this news and first response is to be frightened about it.
Yeah. And the biggest thing is just remember you're not alone.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing. Like I said, remember I said 3.4 million people here in the U.S. have epilepsy. And when you think of 1 in 26 are going to develop epilepsy, you probably know someone out there with epilepsy. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is remember you're not alone. Don't be afraid to reach out and, ask about it. See if you can find a support group in your area or even, just someone who has had epilepsy or has epilepsy and might be able to answer your questions and be there as your support.
Yeah.
Because the doctors, yes, they're there, but yet they can't be there all the time, and they're there to treat you. But it's also good to have that encouragement from other people, and whenever you know someone else who's dealing with it, even if it's a little different than yours, that big thing of knowing you're not alone is a big.
Absolutely.
And oh gosh, yeah. See, you just brought back another memory. So. Soon after, not necessarily soon after I was diagnosed, but like I said, in college, was probably my first advocacy. When I did my speech class, I did a speech about the more main types of epilepsy. And of course, what I talked about then was very different than what I talk about now. But we had 2 peer reviewers in the class, and one of them wrote on hers, and I'm assuming her just because it was a more fancy handwriting. She said, "Thank you, I have epilepsy too." But never came and talked to me about it, and I so wish she had because back then I knew no one with epilepsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish people. I know there's tons of people I know who are open about it, but I wish so many more would be open about it.
Do you feel like over the years it's making some progress in that direction where people?
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
Good.
Yeah, it's been making progress, and it's been making progress in many ways. In regards to people being, talking about it, a lot of these misnomers getting out, getting squashed, but on occasion they still, reek to the surface. But also, like I said, just even though there's a lot of treatments out there, technology has made a lot of progress. The downside is we still don't have a cure.
Yeah.
And you still have people out there who, no matter what treatment they try, cannot get control of their seizures and are living, these lifestyles from day to day, scared from day to day.
Yeah.
So people see me and think, oh, anyone with epilepsy can get out there and work and everything. Well, that's not the case.
Not the case. So do you have fundraisers during the year to fund your work or to fund the research?
Yeah, we had some before COVID, but you know how things happen. So we just have to get back to that. we're working on getting back to that. So hopefully next year we'll have one. How's